Okay, so I'm going to show you guys my method for broadhead tuning your bow. We want our field points and our broadheads to hit in the same point behind the pin, so that way you don't have to shoot your broadheads to try and sight in your bow. You can use your field points and then trust that later when you need it, you can shoot your broadhead and that's going to hit behind the pin. So for my method, we are going to use Bareshafts. And you're going to tune your bow so that your Bareshafts and your Fletched field points are hitting at the same mark in the target. And then 9 times out of 10, your broadheads are going to hit there too, where your Bareshaft and field point are. Some considerations to make is what kind of broadhead you're using, and then do you have enough steerage for your fletchings. So I am shooting Victory Rip XVs, and the fletching that I use, I like Flex Fletch. Fletching's the best. These are the FHP 200s in a 4 fletch. I've used those for many years. And also I have SK2s in a 3 fletch. These provide enough steerage so that I can shoot pretty much any fixed blade out there. Although the broadheads that I like to shoot and I've been very successful with are the QAD Exodus. And these are in an 85 grain cut because I need a little bit more speed. So with these arrows and these broadheads, I'm getting 297 feet per second with 54 feet per pounds of kinetic energy. And I shot the same setup last year and I blew through every deer that I shot and tagged out. And then I also shot about 100 pigs last year on my property as well. So this setup has worked really well for me. When it comes to shooting either mechanicals or a fixed blade is going to need more steerage just because there's more surface area, there's wind drag on it, whereas a lot of mechanicals have a lot smaller profile and so they'll travel more like a field point. Some actually will hit right behind the pin like a field point will. However, not everybody wants to shoot a mechanical, or they don't have the appropriate kinetic energy to get one to actually penetrate and deploy properly an animal. So whatever you're deciding to go with, whether it's mechanical or fixed blade, I still do recommend shooting your broadhead before you get out there and go hunt. A lot of people, the first thing they start with when tuning their bow is setting their center shot for their rest. And that's not something that I really adhere to. I don't measure from the riser to the rest. I don't square it down the bow. I just get it set close where I have some adjustment room to the left or to the right. You don't want your rest too close to the riser so you're getting fletching contact either on your cables or on your riser, but you also don't want your arrow pointed crazy out to the other side. So, you know, I don't worry about center shot. I'm probably going to micro adjust it left or right anyway at the end of the day. So just get it close where it's comfortable. And the same thing goes for your cam. Don't have your cam crazy off to left, crazy off to the right. Just kind of start with things pretty close down the center and then shoot through paper. Get yourself a, pretty close tear, and then grab your Bareshaft and your field point and head out and go get your 20-yard mark. So when your Bareshaft and your field point are not hitting in the same spot, you're going to say, well, do I need to move my rest over or should I shim my cam? And that's when you start to have to eyeball. Like, if I move my rest over, is it going to be someplace I don't want it? Is it too close to the riser, too far off to the left for a right-handed shooter? Or, if I move my cam over, is it going to have like a crazy cam lean to it? So you have to have a little bit of experience in that regard to choosing which you're going to move for your left and right impacts. Up and down, you're going to move your rest up or down depending on where the Bareshaft is hitting, or you can move the knocking point, but hopefully you set up your knocking point in an appropriate location, pretty close, so that you'll just have to adjust the rest a little bit up and down to get your Bareshafts to hit with your field points. So I'm going to share a tuning chart for how we will be tuning our bow. And the chart that I really like is the Matthews tuning chart. It is very concise and it has all the information you need. So whether you need to move your rest or whether you need to move your cams over, I like to use that chart because it has the information in there. And you can either pause the video and zoom in here, or you can go to the descriptions and then check out the link to the chart. For the initial setup of this bow, I shot through paper and got a pretty clean tear, But when it comes to broadhead tuning, I like to do some Bareshafts as well. So for the Fletched field point, we are hitting right behind the pin at 20 yards. Next, I'm going to shoot a Bareshaft with field tip on it. And we want the Bareshaft and the Fletched arrow to impact in the same spot, because a broadhead is going to act similarly to a Bareshaft because it needs a little bit more correction. We're hitting a little bit low left of our Fletched arrow with the Bareshaft, so let's shim the cam over. All right, so we're going to shim this cam over to the right with this system here. We just snap these out. And I've got a 120 and a 100, so I'm going to swap them. We are done. After making some adjustments on the cam and rest, it's time to see if our Fletched field points and our Bareshafts are hitting in the same spot. Since we moved the cam over, our point of impact has changed a little bit and we're hitting a little bit low left. So let's see if the Bareshaft is impacting in the same spot, and then we can change our scope to match where we are impacting and then shoot a broadhead. Okay, so our Bareshafts and Fletched shafts are now shooting the same spot. That looks really good. So let's go ahead and shoot a broadhead now. I'm going to be shooting my broadhead at my broadhead target first. You do not want to shoot a broadhead after you've shot your Fletched arrows if you like having fletching or if you like having arrows. We're going to be hitting a little bit left of the dot. Yep, so height looks like it's good. We're hitting a little bit left. This is the broadhead. We'll move our sight over to the left after we're done, making sure that our broadhead, Fletched arrows, and our Bareshafts are hitting in the same spot. This is the Fletched arrow with field tip. Okay, so our Fletched arrow and Bareshaft are hitting in the same spot. Next, it's time to shoot our Bareshaft and make sure that they are all grouping, and then we will be done with our broadhead tune. And all that's left is to make sure you're sighted in and get your yardage markers. Here's our last arrow. There it is, same point of impact. Okay, let's go ahead and send our broadhead at 50 yards. I usually have a clarifier in my peep so I can see down there. I don't like shooting with glasses on, but today I do not have a clarifier and I can't see down there very well, so I have stuck a can of Coke down at the target so I'll have something I can look at, because if you can't see it, you can't hit it. So I am aiming at the orange dot at the top of the can. I use the plastic part of roofing tacks stuck into my block targets as my aiming point. They translate well over to hunting and also 3D archery versus aiming at paper targets. There she blows. So you can see the broadhead impacted right on the underside of the orange roofing tack and cut through the top of the can. We're about like a 1/4 inch low of the tack, and left and right is great, so that's a pretty good 50-yard marker with a broadhead. I'd say broadhead tuning went well, and now we are hitting behind the pin and ready to go shoot some deer. Good luck, y'all.